I want to share something about my God. Earlier, I was thinking about, like, God, if there's something I could show to people, what could it be? And I kept hearing intentional, intentional, intentional. And at first, nothing really came to mind. But then hours later, I'm like, okay, what can I say? What is it? What is it? And a second thing came to me, and I was being double minded. But for the most part, it was intentional. Intentional. And I began to think about how God is intentional. He knows what he's doing, and everything he's doing, there's a meaning behind it, and there's a purpose for it. Everything that he constructs in our lives is intentional. Sometimes we may not understand the reason or the purpose behind what God is doing in our lives. We don't understand why certain things have to happen the way it's supposed to. But it's intentional. It's designed to happen the way it's supposed to happen. So no, God is not double-minded. He's not unstable. He knows exactly what he's doing. He knows what he's thinking. Unlike man, we can be double-minded. One minute we think this way, the next minute we think that way. One minute we're this way, the next minute we're that way. It's like, we flip-flop around. We may have this decision that we want to do, this road or path that we want to follow, and the next minute we change in our minds and we want to go down this road or we want to go down this path. But with God, everything's remained the same. He already laid out a path for us to follow. He already designed a road that we should take. He already orchestrated our destiny. And the thing is, we have to follow along that path, that line, that thing that he's designed for us to walk through and go through. If he's already laid the path for us, we need to stop being wishy-washy. We need to stop being double-minded. We need to stop being unstable and follow along the path that he designed for us to follow. Now, sometimes it may not be easy for us to follow that path. There may be stumbling blocks. There may be bumps. There may be even some sign that says detour. And then there are other times we want to detour because that's what we want to do. But when we actually align ourselves with the purpose and the plan that God has for us, it doesn't matter what stumbling block is in our way. It doesn't matter what dilemma we may face. It doesn't even matter what detour sign may be on that road. Because we have that one mindset to follow Christ, to stay on the path that he has designed for us to stay on. And we're not going to let anything shake us from that path. Sometimes we may be like, man, listen, this is getting too much for me to go through. It's getting too much for me to carry. I really just I don't see the plan. I know what he said, but I can't see I can't see the in between. I see where I'm at right now, which is the beginning. He showed me the ending, but the in between is kind of cloudy. I can't see that. Or sometimes we can see the middle and we can see the beginning, but we can't see the ending. And we're so unsure, we're so uncertain of the end result that it becomes a little scary. It becomes a mind game and a questionnaire for yourself, like, God, is this really you? Or what's going to be the outcome? What's going to be the end result? So the thing is, it was never for us to try to decipher and try to figure out how it's going to be, what's going to be the end result, or even like how we're going to maneuver our way to get there. Because if God is ordering your steps, he's going to order your steps perfectly. He's going to order your steps where every step that you take is intentional. Every step is to bring you closer to the finish line of what he has designed for you to be at the very end. He never said that, listen, everything going to be peaches and cream. Everything going to be a smooth transition. Everything going to be all fine and dandy. Only thing is, he's just telling us to trust him. Trust me through the process. Keep your eyes and keep your focus on me. Because he already know that there's going to be, roadblocks, obstacles, all this kind of stuff. He already know that. He already know that also the enemy is going to come in and try to play his little thing in there too to try to get you sidetracked. He already know that. He already know there may be some doubt in our mind. There may be some things that we may try to do and we may try to push aside or press pause on keep moving forward, on keep pressing on let's walk this thing out, on let's keep running this race. There are going to be some times where we may hit the pause button like, listen, I don't feel like doing this today. This ain't it. I'm done. And he was like, no, listen, I need you to keep going. I need you to keep pressing. I need you to keep moving forward. So he already knew that. He was intentional on every single thing. And I'm going to share a little bit more in depth about intentional and how we have to just keep our focus, keep our mind on Christ and not get sidetracked, not get distracted, not getting our own feelings and emotions, but just to keep pressing. We got to press towards the mark. Press towards the finish line. Press towards the end goal. Press towards the end. Keep running. Keep moving. Keep striving to get to the goal, to get to the end. Because see, this right here is not the end. This is taking us to the end, but this is not the end. The end is eternity with Christ. And that's one thing that the enemy don't want us to make it. He don't want us to get there. He want us stuck. He want us being in doubt. He want us believing that, hey, life is a game. That God ain't real or God is okay. He's chill. He's okay with whatever we doing or whatever because he's understanding. He's merciful. Yes, he is merciful. But there's a thing called mercy and grace. And at a certain time, that mercy and grace going to run out. So we can't keep playing. We can't keep being double-minded. We can't keep being wishy-washy and think that we're going to obtain the prize that God has for us. Yes, he's designed our lives. Yes, he wrote out the plan for us to take. Yes, he already paved out the way for us to take. But at the same token, we have to be willing to follow that path. We have to be willing to stay on the path of righteousness. We have to be willing to stay on the path of holiness. We have to be willing to stand on what God has told us to stand on. And that's on Bible, and that's on him. Not what we feel, not what we think, not what we could come up with. But what God has ordained and set for our lives. That's the thing that we should be concentrating on. So yeah, we got things going on. We got business, we got family, we got school, we got careers, we got all those things is fine and dandy in its proper place. But at the end of the day, the only thing that's going to stand is what Christ has said for us to do. Salvation, our ministry, our works before God. That's the only thing that's going to really stand. Everything else is going to pass away. Everything else is going to crumble and fall. Everything else, in its own time is going to be over. We can work so hard for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, and we can accomplish so much, which is good. But at the end of your lifespan, after those 20, 30, 40, 50 years, and you finally close your eyes on this side, everything you worked for, you can't take it with you. That's going to be left for somebody else. So we can't keep living this life to obtain riches, wealth, and fame and forget about the main thing that really matters, and that's our soul. That's our relationship with Jesus Christ. So yeah, it's good to want to, obtain certain things in life. It's good to want to, further your education, get those jobs, become an entrepreneur. Cool. That's all fine. That's all fine in its proper place. But at the end of the day, what is it really all about? Is it about obtaining wealth in man's eyes? Or is it about obtaining that relationship with Jesus Christ? And a lot of these things I'm talking about as far as obtaining wealth and, being friends of the world and only trying to obtain worldly items, worldly things, I'm going to talk more later on that as well. But for right now, let your main focus be on obtaining a relationship with God. For God is intentional. And let's get out of our double-minded ways.